Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about interview hacks and things you must remember while you are appearing for any interview. So the first step obviously is to build up a CV. If you don't have a CV, then you cannot appear for any interview. Some of you might be knowing I did make a video about how you can build up your CV well, the link to which will be up here somewhere. You can check that out, but you have to understand that if you make your CV well enough, then the people who are reading your CV will be impressed and then they will call you for that interview. And if your CV is not there, of course you won't be called for an interview, right? So the first step is to build a good CV. The second step is to research about the job for which you are applying. This doesn't just mean that you will look up the responsibilities which you are supposed to fulfill if you get the job, but also you must research about the company where you are applying. For example, if you are applying in Infosys, you must know that Narayan Murthy happens to be the chairperson of Infosys. If you are applying for Tata, then you must know about the influence of both Jamshedji Nasarwanji Tata and Ratan Tata, right? So if you are applying for a company, know a little bit of background history of that company, and of course know about the job description which you are applying for. In some cases, we just send out our CVs hoping that there will be an opportunity or opening for us. In that case, this particular tip might not work, but you will know what are the jobs which you will be able to do. Therefore, know what you can do and research about it well. If you can, get in touch with people who already have the job which you want. For example, if you want the job of an assistant professor at X and Y university, then you should look up people on LinkedIn or Facebook who are already assistant professors at that X and Y university and ask them what kind of questions are asked in their interviews. This will be an integral part of researching about the job description for which you are applying. What benefit will this give you? This will give you two benefits. You will get ahead of those people who are casually applying, and if they ask you specific questions about the company or about your role, your responsibilities inside the interview, then you will be in a position where you can answer the questions with a lot of confidence because you would have done your background reading on those exact topics. This will set a good tone for you. It will create a good first impression and will take you a long way while you are applying for that interview. Some common questions asked in interviews are: where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Why do you want this job? Why have you chosen this company? And what are your dreams and ambitions? Now, these answers will be different for every individual person, but there is a common structure to this. If we take the first question, for example, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? You have to give them a prospective analysis of what your career plan is. For example, if you are applying as a junior software developer in a company, you must tell them that in 5 years, I see myself becoming a senior software developer. If you are learning backend, then you must say that in 5 years, you will also learn front-end coding. If you are applying as an educator who teaches only classes 5 to 8, in the next 5 years, you will plan to learn how to teach classes 9 to 12. And in the next 5 years, you will learn how to take on administrative responsibilities and climb up the ladder of responsibility within that company. Also, there are some smart replies to this. For example, in 5 years, I hope to see myself in your chair. But you have to keep in mind that not all companies appreciate this. They often expect people to be serious about their interviews, and this might backfire. So keep that in mind if you are looking for witty replies to such questions. And also you have to remember that everyone, almost everyone, prepares for these questions beforehand. So in the present day and age, these questions are becoming a little less relevant. They ask you more specific questions pertaining to your CV or your interest areas. For example, what are the things which you think you are great at? You have to be honest about yourself. A little bit of exaggeration is fine, but don't tell things about yourself which you can't follow up in action. This is the golden rule. If you abide by this, then I don't think you will have any kind of problems. Or if they ask you why have you chosen this company or why do you want this job, again a witty reply could be that I don't like to go to sleep on an empty stomach. But if you give them a little bit of praise about their company, which is what they are looking for, then I think it will do you a lot of good. So you have to keep a ready answer for these staple questions, which are basically warm-ups. And after that, of course, they will ask you specific questions about your qualifications, about your qualities, which we can't discuss in this video because that will depend on what position you are applying for and what are your skills and capabilities. And depending on that, they will ask you questions. But you have to keep one thing in mind. They don't expect you to answer 100% of the questions. In fact, in some cases, they ask you questions to which there is no answer, just to check whether you are being honest or not. So if you don't know the answer to a question, you genuinely don't know, it's always best to admit it. That will not backfire 99% of the cases, in my opinion. The fourth tip is smartness and presentation. How quickly can you think on your feet? That is of paramount importance. For example, they might ask you tricky questions which has nothing to do with your job or has something very tertiary to do with your job. But you have to give them creative, innovative solutions. For that, I recommend you look up IAS interviews or UPSC interviews, because there they ask a lot of innovative questions. I think you will find a lot of BuzzFeed articles about questions asked in interviews and their stunning answers. I will put some links to those articles down in the description. Don't forget to check them out. And also you have to keep in mind that your smartness is not only dependent on the way in which you answer your question, but also in the way you present yourself. If you are wearing proper clothes, I know this is not directly related to the job you're applying for. Clothes don't matter according to me, but according to the employers, though they are the people who are going to pay us, right? So we have to conform to their requests or their commands. So we have to wear proper formal clothes. We have to dress up nicely. We have to present ourselves well. And we also have to maintain certain codes of ethics and etiquettes, which I will discuss in the next point. But your smartness and presentation will be of paramount importance, because there might be a situation in your job where you are required to do something which you were not trained for, but you are required to do it nonetheless. So they will put you on the spot and see how you react. It doesn't matter whether you reacted correctly or wrongly. It just matters whether you have reacted quickly and how innovatively have you solved a problem which probably won't exist in real life at all. So you have to keep in mind that every problem has a solution. Doesn't necessarily mean that that solution has to be an executable solution or a realistic solution. They are not looking for that. They are just looking to check how smartly can you think if you are put under a lot of pressure. So just keep that in mind, and also keep in mind that the person who is questioning you probably doesn't know everything. They know more than you, probably, but they probably don't know everything. If you think of them as some omnipotent, omniscient being, then you will have a harder time answering questions. If you think of them as someone who was just born before you and therefore is at a superior position than you are, then I think you will be all right. And finally, standing and sitting etiquettes. This is something which is very important. Most importantly, when entering a room, you should always ask for permission no matter what the situation. Even if you are seeing that there is a line of candidates and everyone is being called in a serial manner, even then, before entering, if you ask for permission, no harm will be done. In fact, it will give the impression that you are well mannered. After entering an interview room, this is of course assuming that your interview happens in the offline format. In the online format, these things will be not so relevant. But in an offline format, you must stand until you are asked to sit. Please don't ask for permission to sit. Of course, this is not applicable for the disabled people, those who have problems standing or cannot stand for long periods of time due to physical problems. This doesn't apply to them. Only for the able-bodied people, you must stand before they ask you to sit. While sitting, please make sure that your hands are either rested on your thighs, not crossed like this, but on your thighs, or you can use your hands like I am using mine in this video for hand movements so that you are not very awkward about it. Please sit upright, stare your interview right in the eye, and make sure that while you are shaking your hand, the interviewer is the one who puts his hand forward for a shake. Make sure your grip is tight. Make sure you're touching this point, and make sure that after your interview is over, you thank them for the opportunity and hear what they have to say. Depending on their feedback, you can improve in the subsequent interview should you require them. Therefore, that is all for today. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, queries, doubts, or comments, please don't forget to leave them down in the comments. I will be happy to engage with you. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you people in the next one. Till then, hasta la vista.